Hi, Canastota. I'm Sean Becerra, Superintendent of Canastota Central Schools, and this is the weekly video update for Friday, March 19th. To start off, I want to make sure to remind all of our families that a new survey is available to you and will be open for feedback through this Sunday, March 21st. The survey asks you to let us know what the preferred method of instructional delivery will be for your child as we move into the fourth marking period. As we have done several times over the past year, we are once again trying to solicit information about whether or not you would prefer that your child follows an in-person or a remote schedule, this time for the fourth marking period, which begins on April 19th. With all of the various restrictions for spacing between students, it is imperative that we receive the updated selection for each child for the remainder of the year. Also, please keep in mind that the survey closes this Sunday at 9 p.m. So make sure to complete it soon. It will only take you probably a couple of minutes. Once we receive this feedback, we'll analyze the data next week, and we'll then share with the school community our plan moving into the fourth marking period. We'll also likely have some updates independent of the survey results that we may be able to put in place prior to the start of the fourth marking period. Those announcements may come as soon as next week. So again, please give us your responses, and we'll be able to provide you with further clarification of what is or isn't possible related to scheduling once we're able to match that with the guidance that's currently in place. This past week, we also received some updated information about the state assessments. The Board of Regents met on Monday and Tuesday, and several decisions were made, including that the test window period for this spring will be going forward as originally planned. At one point, there was discussion based on the U.S. Department of Education statement from a few weeks ago that the testing might actually drift into the fall. But State Education Department essentially shut the door on this. Therefore, the ELA assessment will be given sometime between the assigned testing window of Monday, April 19th and Thursday, April 29th. And the math assessment will be administered sometime between Monday, May 3rd and Friday, May 14th. These assessments have been shortened as well in length. Science state assessments will also be administered in grades 4 and 8, and both will be comprised of only the single session written portion of the exam. There will not be a performance test component to this year's test in school for the 4th and 8th grade science. As we've mentioned previously, there are only 4 Regents exams being administered this year as well. So all of this news related to the prospect of the further reopening to in-person instruction, as well as all of the changes in state testing, has generated a lot of questions from our school community. And as a result, we've scheduled the next parent informational session for this coming Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. This virtual session will consist of a brief overview of the plans for state assessments, including Regents exams, and will also include a review of next steps in our plan to get students back to school as much as possible. And we'll also address to whatever degree possible at that point on what end-of-year events might look like, including proms, graduations, and things like that. So many of your questions will likely be answered during the overview portion of our presentation. We'll also be answering your questions live during that video cast as well. So please plan on joining us for this virtual session. I think it will be time well spent, and we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday afternoon. Finally, I want to talk for a minute about the announcement from Senator Schumer's office that schools around the state were going to receive a substantial sum of money as a result of the recently approved federal stimulus package. The amount announced for Canastota was actually over $2.2 million. So this sounds great, but it's important to note that there are a lot of questions still swirling around this announcement and a lot of questions that still need to be answered. For example, will this funding be distributed this year or over multiple years? What are the allowable uses for this money? And probably most importantly, can the governor essentially intercept this money and simply use it as a gap filler in the state budget? In other words, can the state reduce their share of funding for schools and fill the gap left by the state reduction and replace with these new federal funds? If that's the case, we might not even see any increase over the projected aid allocations outlined in the governor's January draft budget proposal. So as you can see, it's clearly not as simple as the press release indicates. I'll obviously keep you informed as we learn more about how this federal money will be dispersed, when it'll be dispersed, and how it can be utilized. So much more to come on that. So with budget season here, the start of the capital project, the administration of the state assessments, and all of the things that need to be involved with navigating around COVID, none of us will be bored anytime soon. But first things first, SU plays tonight against San Diego State. Let's hope they get the job done and play again on Sunday. Go Orange and go Raiders.